Can I have the parties approach and announce for the record, please?
Michael Miller, Catholic State.
And are you Miss Ramirez? All right. So were there pretrial motions heard on this case? All right, then why is the box checked that I'm giving her permission to appeal?
That I don't know.
All right, so if you all want to fill out a new trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal.
Okay.
All right. The document is over on the box on the side. All right, we're here for sentencing. You entered a plea on July 7th. You applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 4 years in the prison, and the state is remaining silent on your application for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Just a few factual corrections.
Yes.
My client has had a psychological through CPS. It stated in there that she hadn't. She has completed some college. Her income was a little bit more than stated at $3,800, and then her primary language is Spanish, secondary is English. We just wanted to make those on the record. Other than that, I think no other objection.
All right, Ms. Ramirez, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up. I've just been informed by your counsel that English is not your first language. It's Spanish, is that correct?
Yes, but
All right, so you don't need an interpreter? All right, thank you. All right, the state is silent, so defense.
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that you grant Ms. Ramirez the deferred adjudication. After reading over the PSI, we just wanted to highlight a couple of pieces of information. My client has been going through her CPS base for about 18 months now. She has completed several courses. The event that is listed in there to include the topics of the family violence, the violence education, parenting, anger management. She has also been ongoing through continued counseling. She was going through Mr. Carlos Castillo until just last July. We were supposed to start trial at that time. He didn't schedule her any other sessions with him, so she went on her own to seek additional counseling through somebody that was provided through her insurance.
Everyone, please make sure you whisper. Yes.
And so she is still continuing, and she is very proactive and continuing counseling, really to try to understand how her behavior that made the children, even specifically, feel victimized, how she can change it going forward. In the PSI, I believe it does say that the child was hospitalized. We also just wanted to clarify that they had went to take photos. There was no hospitalization of the children. And in addition to that, Your Honor, we just wanted to also highlight that although the PSI it seems to highlight specifics of one side of the story, there was also no mention in there about Miss Nancy Kellogg stating that the injuries did seem from Evelyn as consistent with the bike and the iron and not of abuse, as well as Evelyn did not make any outcry, and when specifically probed about what Ethan had stated, had given completely different version of the events. In any event, Your Honor, my client is working. She would like to continue to go to counseling. We do have a trial in her CPS case on Thursday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is asking for her children to be returned. I understand that CPS is asking for her to be terminated, but she would like the opportunity to work probation, get continued services, and then continue with her job at Wells Fargo.
Okay, so this is what the court is trying to understand. According to the stipulations, and this is what you stipulated to, it says that the victim, which is one of the children, made an outcry at school of abuse while at home. R1 said that victim 2 was found to have a large welt on his left upper thigh as a result of being struck by his mother. R1 said that his sister goes to the same school as victim 2, and she was also interviewed by school staff. It was discovered that victim 1 had bruising on both inner thighs and also had a burn mark to her right inner thigh that she said was from a steam iron. R1 said that when asked how she was injured, victim 1 said that she fell off her bike. R1 said that victim's injuries were not consistent with falling off a bike. R1 said that victim was asked how she got the burn mark. R1 stated that victim one stated that her mother told her to unplug and put away a steel hot steam iron, and she accidentally dropped it on her leg, causing the stated burn. So are you saying that you didn't cause any of these injuries to the children?
No. On her thigh, I actually didn't see her fall off her bike.
I want to talk about the welt mark from the other child.
Ethan?
Yes.
So on Ethan, when I asked him in front of the caseworker, what were they referring to? All he did was just lift the pants that he had on, and all you saw was notice was the bruise on his lower leg.
So are you saying you didn't do it?
I didn't strike him with a belt.
All right, because, and then on the PSI report on page 4, it says, Ms. Torres stated Ethan spoke of being in a closet for hours at a time. He feared of what would happen if he came out. He stated he was scared, bored, and hungry. He stated some of his siblings would check on him and play with him. He also spoke of a time when his mother choked him off the ground for losing his church book and slapping him. He spoke of being hungry and his mother not feeding him. So if none of this is true, why did you enter a plea? Why not go to a jury trial?
Because of communication that we've had with the children's attorney. We created advice on responsibility.
No. Do you want a jury trial? We'll give you one today. We have a jury outside. That'll be here at 1:30. You want a jury trial? That's either yes or no.
No.
All right. Is there anything else from either side? All right. And defense, do you feel that your client's entering into this plea bargain agreement was voluntary?
Yes.
All right. And Ms. Ramirez, was anything offered to you other than the plea bargain agreement?
That might bring.
All right. All right. If there is nothing else for either side, the court is going to deny the application, find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. The court will sentence you to $1,500 fine, time, and money to run concurrent. And the court will sentence you to 4 years in the prison. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
Judge, we do have victim impact on this case, and I believe this victim's here.
All right. All right, so here's the thing, everyone. I require that everyone treats everyone with respect. Just internalize what's being said. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
To be here. It has been over a year now that Ethan has been with me,
Everyone, please be quiet.
and I have noticed a big change in him. He is a wonderful boy, caring and loving, to say the least. There is not much I can say about him and what he has done for me and my family. However, it was not easy to come to this point in our lives. When Ethan was placed in my care, he had some challenges that we both had to overcome. His behavior was all over the place. We had good days and bad days. He would tell me experiences he had grown up and tell me how he was treated when he was at home. He would talk about his brothers and sister. When he felt like he did something wrong, he would go to his closet or his bedroom and stay in there until I was able to locate him and explain to him that I was not asking him to go there, and there was no reason to go in there. I told him he could come out so that we can talk about what happened and see if we could find a solution to what happened, because going to the closet and bathroom was not the solution to the problem. Ethan would be defiant when he was first placed in my care. We had a couple of issues at daycare the first couple of weeks. Nothing concerning that they had to call me to get him or that he had to be expelled. He was able to complete daycare until school started in the fall. When I would take him to see his mom and siblings, it was a bit of a struggle because he didn't really want to go. And when I picked him up, he would be distanced with me. It would take a couple of days before he would be open to me and listen. Also, he would appear to be quiet and sad. When I would ask him to help around the house, he would just go to his room and wouldn't help me. After a couple of days, he would come around and start to help and would be helpful and loving and would be more affectionate. As times went on, he got comfortable with me and my parents. He would call my mom and my dad Mima and Grandpa D. He would look at them as his grandparents and would enjoy going over there to visit them. There would be times when he would ask me, when are we going to go over see them? He would even ask to spend the night as well. He loved going over there. He had stability and opportunity to see what family life can be. This summer, he also experienced his first flight. We took him to Nebraska for my nephew's wedding, who we refer to as his new cousin. He saw another side of a family, and they also treated him as one of their own. He had a great time. I can see it in his attitude and behavior. He was happy. One night, we sat down and watched the movie at my sister's house, and he just sat right next to her as we watched the movie. He did this the next day with my brother-in-law. He just sat right next to him as they watched the movie together. At the beginning, he would express to me how I was living at home and would assume that he would be treated the same way here. I would have to explain to him over and over again, that is not what we do here. We do things differently. We deal with the issue. I have seen a big change in him since he was first placed in my care a little over a year ago. He is turning into a bright, caring little man with a future. When he was first placed in my care, he appeared to be sad and not a caring. He had a negative attitude about things and things around him. He would only share with me what happened to him at home and his siblings. When I enrolled him into daycare, he didn't want to go. I was hoping that maybe he would make friends and have time to interact with kids his own age. It did take him some time to make friends and come home and tell me about them. I remember there was one child he would talk about and say that they didn't get along. I told him, remember this, you're going to change his mind and you're going to be friends. A couple of weeks later, they became friends. And at Ethan's birthday party, he was the only one in his daycare that showed up. He did have some challenges at times at daycare, and they made me aware of his behavior. We were able to work through them, and we were able to continue daycare throughout the summer. When it came time for him to start school, I did have some concerns. When it came time for the parent-teacher meeting, all I got was praises about him, how he was caring boy. As time went on, he would show what I would call the real Ethan. The caring and loving little boy he is and is meant to be. One of the things that impressed me is when he sees someone that needs help, he would ask me if we can help them out. There was one time during the summer, we were at a store and the guy asked if he could wash my rims for $10. And I thanked him and said no. When we went inside, Ethan looked at me and said, I have $1. Can I give it to him? I said, if that is what you like to do with it, go for it. He turned around and went to the guy, and I can hear him tell him, here you go. And the guy said, no, I can't take that. Thank you. I told the guy, please take it. He wants to give it to you. He said, thank you, and that Ethan was going to make him cry. I still remember that day. I will never forget that day. It's little things like this that have been able to see him grow and become a caring little boy. When we go somewhere like the park or swimming, he always wants to take extra stuff so he can share with them like water or maybe even a water. This is not something that I saw in him when he was first placed with me. He would just talk about negative things in his life, and now he looks forward to living life. He's been making friends left and right everywhere he goes. I can take him to McDonald's with the playground, and he will make a friend that he calls them a friend, not just someone he met. A couple of weeks ago, I took him to a water park out of town, and while we were there, he made a friend and even exchanged numbers. At first, he would make friends, but a bit shy at first. But now, whenever I take him, he makes friends. When he plays with them, he makes sure that they are okay and makes sure that they are having as much fun as he is. He is becoming a caring, kind, and confident little boy. He is seeing that the world around him isn't always full of negativity and that he can be and is loved unconditionally.
Thank you so much, and thanks for taking care of him.